All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about the second World Cup ever, held back in 1934. But this one was different. It was about way more than just soccer. Think passion, controversy, and a whole lot of raw political power. So, have you ever wondered what happens when the World Cup, the biggest sporting event on the planet, gets turned into a political weapon? Well, that is the question at the very heart of the 1934 tournament. It was hosted in fascist Italy under Benito Mussolini, and honestly, it created the playbook for how nations use sports to project power and polish their image on the world stage. Okay, so after the first World Cup in 1930, the hype was real. How real? We're talking a 146% increase in teams wanting to play. That is a massive jump. It was so big, in fact, that for the very first time, countries actually had to go through qualifiers just to get a spot. But here's where things get interesting, right from the get-go. The reigning champs, they flat out refused to play. Yep, Uruguay, the winners from 1930, boycotted the whole thing. Imagine that today. It immediately cast this huge shadow over the entire competition.
And it wasn't just Uruguay, not by a long shot. The British nations, England, Scotland, the whole lot, they basically said, no thanks, our own tournament is better. Then you have Argentina, the runner-up from the last tournament, sending a team of amateurs because of some internal drama. So the field was, well, it was wide open for a new champion to emerge.
Okay, so let's get into the main event here, the propaganda pitch. This is all about how Mussolini hijacked the beautiful game. Watching from the stands, you had a very powerful spectator, Benito Mussolini himself. And for Il Duce, this was a golden opportunity. Forget football. He saw a massive, global stage to show off his fascist regime, to tell the world that Italy was this new, powerful, super disciplined nation. And the pressure on the Italian team was just insane. The message they got was reportedly this: you need to win at all costs. Think about that for a second. That's not a pep talk, that's a command. Suddenly, winning a football match was about the success of the entire fascist state, and you could see the fingerprints of the regime everywhere. There were rumors swirling, and, okay, they were never proven, but rumors that Mussolini was literally hand-picking referees for key matches. And get this, the final was held in a stadium named the Stadio Nazionale PNF. PNF standing for the National Fascist Party. I mean, you can't get more obvious than that, right? Now, that political pressure absolutely spilled onto the field. So next up, brawls and new tactics. We're talking brutality and brains out there on the grass. Now, the format of the tournament just poured gasoline on the fire. You have to remember, this wasn't like today with group stages where you can maybe lose a game and still advance. Nope, this was straight knockout. One loss and you're on the next boat home. The stakes were incredibly high in every single game. And this is where things got really, really ugly. The quarterfinals were less football, more, well, a battle. The Italy versus Spain game was famously called a brawl. It ended in a 1-1 draw, but so many Spanish players were injured they couldn't even field their best team for the replay the next day. Shocker, Italy won that one. And the Austria versus Hungary game, just as nasty. Fouls, rough tactics, it was brutal. But it wasn't all just kicking and shoving. There was this fascinating tactical chess match going on. See, most teams were using a popular English formation called the WM, but the Italian coach, Vittorio Pozzo, he was a step ahead. He came up with his own system, the Metodo. It was smarter, more defensive, and built for lightning-fast counterattacks. It was a real game-changer, proving they could outthink opponents as well as outmuscle them. So that brings us to a champion's controversial rise and Italy's path to glory, which was anything but simple. So in the semifinals, Italy's rock-solid defense just completely shut down Austria's famous attack. They ground out a tough 1-0 win. In the other match, Czechoslovakia pulled off an upset against Germany. And just like that, the final was set. The host, Italy, against the dark horse, Czechoslovakia, right there in Rome. And the final, man, it was something else. With just under 20 minutes left, Czechoslovakia scores. The stadium goes silent. It looks like the ultimate upset is about to happen. But then, with only 9 minutes left on the clock, Italy claws back an equalizer. Pure drama. The game goes to extra time, a first for a World Cup final, and that's where Italy finds the winner to claim the trophy. Italy's victory was a massive sporting achievement, no doubt. But for Mussolini, it was so much more. This leads us to the game's political shadow, a legacy that goes way beyond the trophy. Look, at the end of the day, the 1934 World Cup proved one thing beyond a shadow of a doubt: sports and politics are not separate. They can't be. This tournament wrote the blueprint for using a massive sporting event for propaganda. It was basically the birth of what we now call sports washing. Which leaves us with this final nagging question, doesn't it? Nearly a century later, can they ever truly be separate? It's the question that still hangs over the beautiful game, all thanks to what happened back in 1934.